Well, hello, Internet. It's me, DP Knudten, and I'm here for another episode of Bookward Bound, my 301-day journey from I should do this to done. And so this is day 14. Yeah, 14 consecutive days so far doing live streams of me actually progressing my book down the field, if you will, in one way or another. Some nights I work on the outline via a mind mapping tool called iThoughts. Tonight I'm going to do something different. I think I'm going to actually sit down here and write some stuff in Scrivener. Now, Scrivener is a literature and latte product. The guy who came up with this, I think, is a Brit, and his company is called Literature and Latte. And it's one of those niche applications that has been, accepted and really embraced by a whole lot of different writers. Now, I heard about Literature and Latte's Scrivener from James Fallows of the Atlantic Monthly magazine and the Atlantic, website.com. And I followed James Fallows, Fallows, for a long, long time, and really respect what he does. And so when he said that he uses Scrivener as part of his bookward bound journey on all sorts of different books, you gotta respect that. And so I just thought I'd check it out, and I did what most people do nowadays, and I hit YouTube to see, okay, what's this about? And it ends up, there's this entire subculture of word-related people who are all over Scrivener. So I knew I had to check it out. And so I am. In fact, here's what it looks like in dark mode. You've got all sorts of different stuff, and it actually helps you configure your book and write your book. So I'm doing a paperback. It's got certain manuscript format pages. If I were to produce it as a manuscript for sending out to a publisher, it can do all that stuff automatically. And it's really, really powerful, but it's also one of those things where you can get started using it at the level you need it to be and then learn stuff as you go. So I'm not going to go deep in on this other than to say it does cool stuff like introduce you to concepts like front matter, manuscript format, paperback, ebook. It's already setting you up for success by handling stuff that you don't even know you need handling. Or that you need to do. However, I want to actually write something tonight. And where was it? Yeah, there it is. What's your key 3? So this may be a little bit more focused or boring an episode, depending on your point of view. But I'm actually going to write some stuff. And in this case, it's about my concept of the key 3. What is your key 3? And, well, let me just write this and perhaps read it aloud to you at the same time as I go. So, if you had to sum up everything about the United States of America in just 3 words or phrases, could you? That's a pretty tall order. But one that was handled with a great aplomb by a certain tobacco farmer from Virginia. I'm talking about Thomas Jefferson, one of the universally recognized, one of the founding fathers of what was then just a ragtag bunch of British, ex-British, let's call them ex-British, ingrates. You can read all about what I consider to be his greatest work in countless historical publications. But the thing I want to point out, but the thing that resonates most with me was his ability to capture the truth of a nation in just 2 words and 3. Oh my God. For someone who's been writing for going on 30 years, I'm a terrible typist. And a 3-word phrase. But first, a note about authorship. You'll notice there I gave it a bolding because I want it to be a subhead. Because I like to break up my copy or my writing with shorter paragraphs and then subheads. Because some people are going to go down the page and just look at the subheads. It's like scan, scan, scan. Okay, now I'll go back and read it. You always have to think about the actual reader's point of view for something I call multiple points of entry. Every page should have multiple points of entry depending on the needs of your audience, your readers. Because let's face it, we live in an age where to be a self-described reader is becoming more and more rare. However, we're all reading more than probably we ever have or humankind has ever had in the history of humankind. Because a tweet, you got to read it. A post, you got to read it. What Chrissy Teigen is making for dinner for John Legend, that recipe, you got to read it. So there's a ton of reading going on. But the funny thing is, most people don't consider themselves readers per se. So if you're a writer, unless you're someone who's writing novels for a very specific audience, if you want the widest possible audience, it makes sense to break things up and make it really approachable and enterable by your audience. So what am I doing here? I'm creating entree points, places of entry for my readers. So, and I don't want to go deep into history lessons, but I will say this. Few people or I should say relatively few people, relatively few people are aware that Mr. Jefferson's magnum opus. And again, magnum opus is not a phrase that most people know. Mammoth work, great masterwork, whatever you want to call it. But they can get it in context. And the whole thing is, you can dumb your language down to a 7th grade reader. But I posit this, and using the word posit, I'm giving an example of it. I posit this, that people can learn new words in context of something that's well written. I know I certainly have. My vocabulary was not inculcated, there's another big word, in me by my parents. It was taught to me by the books I read, and I read a ton when I was a kid. Anyway, so don't be afraid to use language that people don't get immediately, because here's another thing, and I think I need to, guess what? I'm going to open up iThoughts, because this is a big idea that I've written about in the past in a blog post. Hold on, I need to get the right. And I don't know where it's going to go in the book, to be honest. But I don't care. Oh, it might be in here, actually. It might be in... Hold on. Sorry about that. People love puzzles. Yeah, I wrote about that in here. Or did I? Oh, it doesn't look like it's in here. Okay, my first book, right here, Rotoma, the ROI of Social Media Top of Mind. I thought I wrote about a concept that I did a blog post about called People Love Puzzles. So I'm going to put that in here. People love PU. And that right there proves my point, which is that people are like, they don't like a information vacuum. They want to fill in the blanks. And okay, now it doesn't take a genius to know that what that says is people love puzzles. But my point is, leave some holes that people can fill in, and they are much more engaged with your book or your copy. If you spell things out for people from the get-go, people like me get bored. There's a fantastic discussion on screenwriting, or a write-up by David Mamet, the great playwright, about how to write stuff so that you don't insult your audience. And just look up David Mamet on screenwriting on, in the Google, and you'll find his all caps rant about writing copy or writing, playwriting. Anyway, so I got that there. I'm going back to writing here. So relatively few people are aware that Mr. Jefferson's magnum opus was actually created by committee. And what a committee it was. 3 gentlemen. 3 gentlemen. Just 3 gentlemen. Just 3 gentlemen one from the colony of Massachusetts, another from Pennsylvania. I have to spell that out. I have to phonetically spell that out because I don't want to screw that up. And then the red head from Virginia. But each of them knew that a quality piece of writing simply could not be created by a multitude of authors. Actually, each of them knew, based on their personal experience with the written. Oh my God, come on, Word. That a quality piece of writing simply could not be created by a multitude of authors. And so they gave it to the most junior member of the committee to write. Based on a number of themes they worked out together. And so during the press, I got to look up make sure I've got my understanding is correct. The oppressively hot summer of 1776, he did. Mr. Jefferson, the youngest of the three men, set out to explain something that had never been attempted before. Why? One nation conceived in liberty would seek to end their relationship with the world's sole superpower, And he did a pretty good job, if you ask me. I'm writing about the Declaration Independence, of course, but I'm obsessing over those two words. One 3-word phrase for 25 years. I've been seriously. How did this dirt farmer, how did this Virginian come with a creed that not only worked then, but continues to inspire now? Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. The pursuit of... Okay, that's a 4-word phrase. I better go back in there and change 2 words. Or the pursuit of happiness. That's 4 words. Did you notice how I had to use my fingers to count that out? Yeah, well, that's what happens. Especially after you are co-writing this book with my friend Kirkland from Costco. A wee dram of the good. Let's see. Let's find out. Let's do a search and replace for next. Search and replace is your friend, people. Let me tell you. Not that case. 3 men, 3 men. All right, so cool. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I may be wrong. If you asked anyone on our shared globe to describe the United States of America in just a few words, many of them would cite a single a single friend life and would cite those words: life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Describing happiness. This fact was confirmed in my mind just yesterday during a phone call with one of my clients. As I write these words, the entire earth is facing one of its greatest biological threats. Corona virus. It's got entire countries locked down. And populations ages freaked out to an unprecedented level. As my client and I discussed the situation, she mentioned a colleague of hers who is tremendously successful now, but grew up in the island nation of Mauritius. And as she said, not the big island either. Her point that this is nothing long term. The country of which he is now a citizen, this I'm going to have to look at this paragraph because it's looking a little long to me. But that's a good place to open it up. Of which he is now a citizen. Has an innate dynamism and energy that cannot be denied. And it's a beacon of hope for doers from around the globe. Yes, things will be tough. What are you doing? Okay, guess what? Come share it with my live stream. This is the problem of working at home during the days of coronavirus. Your family's here, and my daughters have now created birthday dresses for our dogs. Hold on. Come over my shoulder. That's Tilly. Yeah. Oh, imagine that. She doesn't like it. She doesn't like it. Yeah. Okay. There's Tilly with her birthday dress. And then Olive is smart. Oh, no, Olive isn't smart enough to run away. Olive is right here as well because these are my dogs. And no matter what my daughters say, they're my dogs. All right. So let me finish this off. So my other daughter, who's got her boyfriend here and wants to come downstairs and watch a movie on the big TV. Yeah, watch a movie, my ass. Let me get this done so I can support young love. Yes, things will be tough for now. But we'll be back. Why? Life. Liberty. And the pursuit of happiness. Three concepts that make one heck. I'm going to use heck of a brand because not everyone's so liberal with their use of profanity as I am. Okay. 511 words. That's good. I think I'm going to leave it here for now because I need to let things germinate. And the thing I've learned too is that with writing, don't force it. If it comes easily, like you'll just notice I did 511 words in, what's the total time on this? In 34 minutes, with plenty of dog distractions and me blathering on about various stuff. So I'm smart enough, and I learned this a long time ago as a young copywriter. Don't force it. Give yourself the time to come up with the concepts that make it really easy to write. You know, the hardest thing for me about writing, I'll be honest, and you've witnessed it, is typing. If I were a touch typist, I could fly through this stuff. But frankly, I'm kind of glad I don't fly through it because it gives me enough lag time to let the concepts, even as I'm crafting a sentence, it allows it to marinate in my mind a little bit. And I swear that's what creates better copy. It creates better content. It creates better writing. Don't rush it. Now, the whole thing is you can go, and I'll hop over here. hold on a second, just to show you my mind map. I'm capturing all these concepts in here already, and I've got to write all this stuff. But I'm capturing the concepts. Think of these as the seeds. All of these seeds are going to be planted carefully, slowly. I'm going to take the seeds out of iThoughts, my mind mapping software, and plug it into Scrivener, my fertile loam, my very fully prepared and fertilized garden. And believe me, accent on the fertilization, if you know what I mean. But that's the way you write. That's the way you get things done. You don't kill yourself to do a certain number of words a day. You write until you go, I don't know what to write, so I'm putting it to bed. I'm going to let it go. Because here's the thing. This is day 14 of 301 days. It's a flippin' marathon. I could run faster. I could write more words. I could try to do a 4-minute mile, and then I wouldn't make it past mile 3. Why would I do that? This is a marathon. I'm going to take my time. I'm going to allow the concepts to germinate in my mind and on the page and in my mind map. You know, the fact is, that's the only way I'm going to get this done. Now, I have the benefit of having done this before in this little book called Rotoma, the ROI of Social Media Top of Mind, which I wrote with my colleague Spencer X. Smith. And I cranked this out. A lot of the reason why I was able to crank it out as quickly as I did is because Spencer wrote half of it. But at the same time, I designed the book, I formatted the book, I edited the book, I added subheads all over the place to break things up, allowing multiple points of entry. All those things happen because I literally put on my running shoes and did my marathon training every single day. So, yeah, would I like to write a few more words, maybe get up to 750 or something like that? Sure. Am I going to beat myself up over it? No. Because I'm going to give myself the grace to have subconscious time. Because here's the thing, writers, any good writer knows that hard-working writers don't. Good writers know that if I give my brain enough time to think of it, even while I'm doing something else like cooking or working out or playing guitar, my subconscious mind is going to be solving the problem. And then all of a sudden, I'll go, whoa, I got an idea. Let's get writing. Don't force it. Allow it to happen. At any rate, that's it for me tonight. I'm DP Knudten for the Nonfiction Brand Podcast and Nonfiction Brandversity, the free Facebook group that I would love to invite you to join. Just search Nonfiction Brandversity on Facebook. Ask to join. Answer 3 questions to prove you're not a bot, and you are in. It's a community of what I like to call passionate nonfiction branders who are seeking to build their personal and small business brands so that they can actually attract, engage, and communicate their completely true, completely you nonfiction brand stories. So join if you're so interested. If not, check back here tomorrow night because I have committed to 301 days of live streams moving this book forward. And frankly, it's working. This is day 14, and I'm already farther along than I ever thought I would be. Thanks to people like you that are keeping me honest. So let's listen to the Nonfiction Brand theme, which I created via GarageBand for free, and maybe that'll be something I share with you sometime. But other than that, it's time for me to say goodnight. Good night. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.